What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about PC gaming, and tonight it's actually about PC gaming because it's just me and the man, the myth, the monster.
I've never had a catchphrase. I can deal with that.
Jeremiah, Germ Gaming.
Thank you, my co-host, Dave, the evil Viking 13, who is not so evil, and I did that in the wrong order. I'm sorry.
Well, the nickname was a little bit evil, so we'll go with that for tonight.
No. I like it. It's good. So that was Dave doing the intro. If you guys don't like it, he'll never do it again. So just give us a down like if you don't like it, and give us a like. Smash the like on your way out.
Yeah. You gotta smash that dislike button. I mean,
no, you don't smash the dislike button. You hit it in shame because you really should like everything. But yeah, smash the like button, tap the dislike button. All right. So anyway, tonight we just have the two of us on the podcast. Wait, were you going to do more of the intro than that?
No, that was it.
Okay, good. I didn't know if I'm just like taking, and all right, you've had your moment.
My part's
fun.
done. Now I drink coffee and listen.
All right, so if you're wondering, hey, why does the screen look different? Well, Skype does this wonderful thing where if you don't have more than two people on a call, it just does weird things to the video. So if I touch the Skype window at all on my computer, things are going to break. So I'm going to try not to do that, but welcome to the podcast, everybody. We start the podcast. Oh, Benjamatic says, by the way, I know you're having some technical issues, but there's a whirling air noise. Is anyone else hearing the whirling air noise? Let me take one side of my headphones off. Whirling noise that you're hearing might be the potato masher because Debbie, you gave me a case that's made out of aluminum, and as it turns out, it's like a giant, one of those like sound forks that you hit and just everything vibrates. So the potato masher might be going fanless soon. It can just sit in 80 degrees Celsius. I don't even care.
We didn't pay for that thing. I think
I might just need to get some rubber washers and like sit it on a mat or something. It's already sitting on carpet. Like I don't know what else it wants, but there's a lot of, actually I'll probably just take the door off the front. That's the main culprit. Yeah. If the fan starts going, it starts whirling. So I'm sorry guys. You'll just have to put up with it a little bit because I don't feel like doing anything about it right now. Now, we start the podcast, as we always do, talking about Patreon. You can support us on Patreon. Patreon pays for cool things like the Potato Masher, like the Teamspeak server, which you guys should be hanging out on and playing games with each other and with us. But yeah, Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/casualshenanigans gaming. And of course, there's links to that in the description of this video. But Iain, I'm assuming his name is probably pronounced Ian, but it's spelled I-A-I-N, and I don't know how to say that because he's from a different country. But Ian upped his pledge to $6.
That's 100% just Ian. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I've never seen it spelled that way. Ian's I-A-N. What's with the extra I?
It's fancy.
All right. So Ian upped his pledge to $6, which puts us at an even 100 again. It's kind of like when you bump over a subscriber milestone on YouTube. There's always those couple people that are like, oh, you're at 801? Unsubscribe. Deal with that. So yeah, there's a couple people have been bouncing back and forth to keep us either at $100 or $99. So thank you to everyone who thinks that's a fun game. But Ian, Joel's not here to say your name in a weird voice, so I'm sorry. I'm going to get him to say your name next time on the podcast because I don't feel either of us could do a good enough job. So we're going to move directly on to that, to our main topic. Our main topic is Windows 10. It's actually a good day that only Dave and I are on the podcast because to put it kindly, Joel's a bit of a Mac fanboy, and he's not here, so we don't have to have a 10-minute conversation after I said that. Joel strongly
a very loud conversation.
Yes, Joel strongly dislikes Windows 8 and 8.1. He liked Windows 7 fine. James is pretty ambivalent on the whole thing, except I don't think he's a huge fan of Windows 8. Dave, would it be fair to say you are a fan of Windows 8? Even when the rest of the world wasn't, Dave still liked it.
Because they gave me the new task manager and those file transfers and that boot time. If I boot my computer, I just close my eyes and I just don't see the Metro screen at all. It's just not even there.
You still use the Metro start screen though.
I do now. I didn't at first. At first, it annoyed the crap out of me. But yeah, it's my my favorite screen. If I hit it now, I have like all my web tools, all my recording software, my Adobe suite. I have like productivity tiles, and then of course games all the way down in tiles. Works pretty well.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Metro start screen, but like I never hated Windows 8. I just never saw the reason to upgrade from 7. Like 7 was totally fine. I didn't really care about the faster boot times because my computer, I turn it on in the morning, it's on all day. So it doesn't really affect me much. Except when I got a laptop that came with a Windows 8 license, and then I upgraded to an SSD and installed Windows 8 on that. And it was amazing. Like I've traveled a little bit this past year, and I'd like sit down at the airport, be like, okay, I'm going to edit some pictures. I just open it up, hit the button, and like 5 seconds later, it feels like 5 seconds later, I'm on the desktop ready to go. And when I need to shut it down, like they're boarding the plane, I can just hit a button and it just immediately shuts down and I'm good to go. So I really like the speed improvements, but it would also be fair to say a lot of people weren't big fans of Windows 8. Windows 8, now I think it's always going to have the reputation of being the Vista. You know, Windows.
You know, I think the adaption tells a story too. 8.1 matched 8.0's adaption in like 6 months compared to 8.0. No, adaption.
Meaning people using it?
Yeah.
Adoption.
All right.
We don't, trust me, you don't want to fight about this on the air. It's adoption. Google it.
It was adopted by more people much faster. So
yes. Well, although it's still kind of sad though, 8 and 8.1 together never came close to Windows 7.
No.
Windows 7 was a runaway hit because people were looking to upgrade from XP. Vista was a giant disappointment. And then 7 kind of made people feel like, sweet, Microsoft doesn't hate us anymore. So good on Microsoft. But yeah, Windows 7 was good. And then Windows 8 came out. And a lot of people were like, eh. Of course, I mean, if you want to be all busy master race, Windows 8 and 8.1 still have sold more copies than every copy of OS X. So
yeah, OS X is still at like, what, 8-9%, I think?
I mean, they've grown in recent years, but the worst Microsoft operating system in 10 years, the least popular one, still did better. But yeah, so Windows 10 is in technical preview right now. They couldn't do Windows 9 because, as it turns out, if you've missed this story somehow, too much of the code relies on the words Windows 9 for like 95 and 98, and they're reusing enough of that code that they can't call it Windows 9. They say, but it's because we're making such a quantum leap in performance, it has to go up to Windows 10. No, that's crap. The reason is they didn't think about this in the 90s. They probably thought
scary House of Cards programming. It's just, you can't mess with the bottom part of the house.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably like, Y2K will hit. Well, I'll be dead then. Who cares?
And when the Terminators show up and nuke the Capitol, it's all over anyway.
Exactly. So, but yeah, Windows 10 is being talked about, and it's going to be coming out in the spring. So Microsoft had a press conference and outlined a bunch of Windows 10 stuff. So I'm going to start with the main feature.
That was dripping with enthusiasm.
What I just said?
A bunch of Windows 10
Well, I don't.
stuff.
All right. Do you get excited when you hear Windows press conference? It's like, guys, hey, Windows Phone still exists. Please, someone buy it.
One of my coworkers asked me, he's like, did you watch the Windows conference today? He's like, oh, it was so cringeworthy. I'm like, did I watch the Windows conference? Like, no, I'll catch the 4 bullet points of useful information later.
I watch the Apple conference. Well, I watch the live feed, like the blog roll stuff go by, just to watch how long they can drag out. It's 10% faster. It's 4% thinner. The battery's a little bigger. And these pictures taken by professional photographers look amazing. And you can take them on your iPhone. Available now for $800.
Basically.
So, yeah. So the Microsoft Tech Conference, the big thing that came out of it, which I think is very newsworthy and a lot of people are excited about, is that Windows 10 is going to be free for the first year if you own Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 8.1. If you own Vista, you're out in the cold. Sorry.
Let me ask you, Jeremiah, when you heard that phrase, it's going to be free for the first year, how did you interpret that? Because there's apparently a lot of confusion over that
I
phrasing.
interpreted, unlike most of the people on the internet, I interpret it as, for the first year it's available, it's free.
Yeah, that's how I read it as too. But apparently a bunch of people thought that it's free for the first year and then it's going to be like a $200 subscription fee or something like that. I was like, would they announce that as some big exciting thing? That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, I don't.
How do you English?
Announcing Windows as a subscription would not work. But what do you think about it being free?
Well,
first of all, why do you think it's free? Why do you think it's free? As the
resident podcast cheapskate, as Joel would say, I'm very excited about this news. I think they have a lot of reputation to overcome with 8.0. 8.1, in my opinion, even with Metro still attached, is a fantastic operating system, but they just can't get over that rep. It's the same thing with Vista. I still have Vista on an older laptop, and I got a laptop that had newer hardware, or a computer that had newer hardware at the same time. The laptop was not a great experience for Vista just launching, but the desktop with new drivers and new hardware was, I had 4 gigs of RAM in it. It ran great. But for so many people, the driver issues, the lack of memory, just, that new operating system nastiness, Vista could never get past that, even though by the first service pack, especially, Vista was perfectly fine. It was modern.
Vista, all right, here's a little bit of story, a little background for everybody. I met Dave in college. He convinced me to upgrade to Vista.
Oh, did I?
Yes, I had Windows XP on my laptop. I'm
going to stop talking now.
To Vista 32-bit. I upgraded to Vista 32-bit because the college gave it to me for free, and I had a single core 1.6 gigahertz laptop. So surprise, surprise, Vista didn't work.
I'm so sorry.
But then I met you, and you're like, guys, actually, no, your key will still work for the 64-bit version. 64-bit's going to change your life. And you brought us the 64-bit disc, and me and Chris installed it, and it was a little better.
All about that.
It took at least a service pack, though, before I was like, well, this isn't wretched. I mean, because Windows XP really worked pretty well, except for the do you want to send this program error to Microsoft thing that happened 10 times a day. But
that is exactly why I had a good Vista experience. Now that you mentioned that, I'm remembering when I first used Vista, it was on the new desktop first. It was new hardware. So no driver incompatibilities. It was after the first service pack, and it was 64-bit. My first fully 64-bit OS with 4 gigs of RAM. So to me, everything was just new and up to date. And I was like,
I did a 32-bit upgrade.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Because they said the upgrade was supposed to work. How am I supposed to know? But here's why I think it's going to be free for the first year. Like I said, they've got a lot of rep to overcome. But if it's free, not just for Windows 8 and 8.1, because people have talked about that for a while, hey, maybe it'll be a free upgrade. But if it's free for Windows 7, I think they want enough people to go, why not? Let's upgrade. I've heard good things about this Windows 10. And if they can get enough of a market share in that first year for free, then companies will start buying Windows 10 PCs when they make their 1,000 computer bulk orders. And you won't have this problems where companies are selling Windows 8 laptops and paying for a Windows 7 license to sell along with it just because their customers are upset. If they can get enough people using Windows 10 and happy with Windows 10 in the first year, then they will make probably more money in the long term off it. That's my guess. Yeah. Because, surface level, it doesn't make sense for them to give it away because they don't make money that way.
They don't sell the hardware. Yeah.
Right. So, except for the Surface tablet. So anyway,
be still my beating heart.
Yeah, I think that's why they're giving it away though. Is because they need to grab enough market share early on that people won't mad about it. So other cool features or other features. Cortana from the Halo series is coming to your desktop to totally not be Siri. I still don't understand what's going on. This is
a real thing. I
is Cortana the love child of Clippy the paperclip and Siri?
So this is actually part of the press conference. I thought this was a joke. They threw it in there as a bullet point. Ha, this is making fun of Microsoft conference. But you're telling me Cortana is going to be on your desktop?
Yeah. And their new browser is called Project Spartan. Guys, we get it. You made Halo 15 years ago.
That's all they have. They have Halo in Xbox Media Center. Oh, I know which part we're getting to next. That just reminded me.
What?
Speaking of Xbox and Xbox integration and Xbox things.
Well, no. We'll get to that in just a second. So they have Cortana, then they have a new browser, codename Project Spartan. Backup codename is totally not Internet Explorer. I think they're just sad of everyone hating Internet Explorer, which, Internet Explorer 11, I think, is the latest one. It's fine. It's a totally fine browser. I use it when I just need to log into another account or something really quick. I need a quick disposable web browser. It works great. There are no issues with it other than everyone hates it and doesn't want to use it. So Project Spartan, I don't know. It supposedly has a lot of cool features.
My question is, though, for a generation that has an older generation that has always clicked on the big blue E to go to the internet, what are they going to click on in 10? What's it going to be?
That's a good question. How are you going to get the old people to find the internet? How much will it be Project Spartan with the IE logo set as an option? Like when you're first setting up the computer for the first time, that's one of the questions. Do you want this to be internet? You do.
A brief college story relating to the big blue E for internet. At college, there were Mac labs, and frequently when the peasantry, the Dell labs with all the crappy all-in-ones were full, and someone wanted to go on Facebook, they would go to the Mac labs, which were primarily designed for the graphic design and the art students, you know, with some nicer software, the Adobe suites and Cinema 4D, all that good stuff. But so many times, I saw multiple times people asking why the blue E wouldn't bring up the internet on the Mac. And on the Macs, they had the OS X version of Microsoft Office. And on those icons, the blue E was, I believe, Excel. Excel was green. Entourage, right?
Yeah, it'd be Entourage.
It was Entourage. It was the email app, right? So people would go to the Macs and just immediately see a blue E and say, oh, it's the internet button. And they would actually go to the help desk and ask why the blue E was not bringing up the internet. Like it's bringing up this blank email box. People might get lost in Windows 10. I'm kind of concerned.
They might. Microsoft also talked about PC gaming and their commitment to the platform, which it feels like every 3 years, Microsoft has to just trot out and go, guys, we care about PC gaming. We really do. We really care about it. Here's games for Windows Live. Yeah, here's games for Windows Live. They're just going to break into your house in the middle of the night and destroy everything you love. We care about you. It's an abusive relationship. But they say, quote, we will treat gaming on Windows 10 with as much passion as Xbox One. Phil Spencer said that. Oh, great. As much passion as Xbox One. So my computer's now a DVR.
TV.
It will support DirectX 12, which is supposed to be 50% faster than DirectX 11. But 50% faster, like in what? Every game runs 50% faster? I doubt it.
No. Yes, actually, DirectX 12 is the most exciting part of this whole conference, in my opinion, because they're taking off so many of the... I mean, I'm not a programmer. I can't describe this well. You're getting closer to the hardware. It's going to be a much closer to the console system in DirectX 12. They're throwing out so much code from 11 and the previous generations, which is why 12 is only supported in Windows 10. They are throwing out just a bunch of stuff. So in theory, I mean, they're going to have to learn how to program for it. The game developers will. But 12 could see a ridiculous boost in game performance.
Mm-hmm. Could. Of course... Mantle could have as well. So,
but when your setup is included in the operating system, I think there's definitely more incentive to.
We'll see. I don't have a lot of confidence. Microsoft, when they say they love the PC platform, I just don't have confidence.
DirectX 12, they've at least pretended to care about in the past. I mean, it's the core of PC gaming is DirectX, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's been around since the 90s. Another feature. You'll be able to stream Xbox One games to any Windows 10 PC over a local network. This includes like the Surface. It currently only supports 30 FPS 720p, but Microsoft hopes that they'll have 1080p 60 FPS by the official release date of Windows 10. They also hope...
Sorry, go ahead.
It's 30 FPS 720p. They want to get up to 1080p 60 FPS. Of course, they also hope the Xbox One will be able to play any game at 1080p 60 FPS. So,
yeah, I was gonna say 720p 30 FPS. So they're matching the Xbox One then.
Well, yeah, it's like great. So I can stream my Xbox One at 60 FPS 1080p. Playing what exactly? I mean,
Peggle?
Now it's a cool feature, I guess. It also will support like shadow play, 30-second gameplay capture. Here's what I don't understand. Who wants to be able to stream an Xbox to a PC? If you could stream your Windows 10 PC to an Xbox, all of a sudden you have a streaming box in your living room with very little effort. Like, that makes a lot of sense.
And the Xbox would make a good streaming box too, I think.
It would. It's powerful enough to play video. It was really built to play video, it appears. But yeah, I don't understand, like, who's going to want to, like, oh, I don't want to sit on the couch and play my Xbox. I'd rather go in my office and sit at my desk chair and play my Xbox in there. Like, I'm assuming some people are going to try this. Yeah, with the delay. Like, maybe so you don't have to get up from your desk to play it. I don't understand. Like, it doesn't really make sense, but I'm assuming it makes sense to somebody.
Xbox, stream to my desk. Xbox. Xbox.
Microsoft also announced Fable Legends will no longer be Xbox exclusive and will come to PCs. They are stuck in the early 2000s. How about some new IP, guys?
I just don't. I don't care.
But they're trying multiplayer again, cross-platform play. PC gamers and Xbox owners will be able to play together online with Fable Legends. Probably only Fable Legends.
Yeah, no Twitch shooters because that's going to end in tears.
Yeah, but they're going to be able to do it, so whatever.
Windows Jeremiah,
10.
Imagine Titanfall cross-platform, no aim assist. I had times in Titanfall on PC where I couldn't keep up with a mouse. So that's
definitely. I want someone to bring Counter-Strike to the Xbox One and make it cross-platform. So all those people with their 144 hertz monitors and their 10,000 DPI mice. It's like, where's your god?
I love shooters. I love PC games, but some Counter-Strike players strike the fear of God into my heart.
So other updates will be a unified experience across phones, tablets, desktops, and laptops. It's presumed that the phones and tablets will be Windows phones and tablets, like all of the integrated Office Online and all that stuff. So the start button is back. Of course, it opens up some Metro apps with it, but whatever. 4K scaling to large resolution displays has always been an issue with Windows. The only reason I upgraded on my desktop to Windows 8.1 is because Windows 7 scaling is terrible. And Windows 8.1 is only better in the sense that different displays can scale at different amounts.
Which is nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It still doesn't fix a lot of the issues with individual apps, but the individual developers have to fix those kind of. But Microsoft says that 4K is going to work great, and then it'll also support 8K, because that 8K might hit while Windows 10 is still a thing.
Oh, I would guarantee it. And higher, I'd say.
Yeah, well, possibly. We'll see. 4K seems to be catching on decently, though.
If Vista's held on for, has it been 8 years since Vista?
Yeah.
That's a long life.
Well, it's held on because the people who bought those computers, the computers haven't died. Yep. I mean, that's the only reason. Like, the market share will drop off as those Dells and HPs break. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, all right. This is actually kind of cool. Surface Hub. Did you see this?
I did not.
Okay. Surface Hub is an 80-inch 4K TV with a built-in mic, camera, and it uses a touchscreen. Do you remember that demo of the Microsoft Surface like desk thing from years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Where people were like, yeah, it's like that, but it hangs on a wall.
That's
touchscreen Windows 8 computer, which is an 80-inch 4K TV.
How many thousands of dollars will it cost?
They don't say.
I bet over 10,000. I'm going to bet.
Quite possibly, because it's designed for enterprise applications. It's supposed to go into like conference rooms and stuff. So instead of having a projector or a whiteboard, you have this, and you have a stylus. You can draw on it like a whiteboard. You can do Skype calls. I mean, that's honestly, that's a cool feature.
Yeah.
For let's say it's 10 grand. If 10 grand isn't a big deal to your organization, that seems like a really nice way to go to the future-ish. But if you really want to go to the future, they announced some vaporware. Vaporware meaning products that look really cool and are probably never going to happen. The HoloLens.
Yeah, is this even worth talking about? It's just it's all
it definitely is,
and just.
No, Dave. This is going to change your life. So people thought, hey, maybe Microsoft is going to announce like an Oculus Rift, Project Morpheus type virtual reality headset, and they're like, screw that. We're going to do a holographic headset, which means just like Google Glass hasn't lived up to, the HoloLens gives you full vision, and then it just projects things on the wall in front of you. They showed in their cool video this guy like walking up to a motorcycle and there are parts missing, and his HoloLens draws on where the parts should go, like with these wire frames and stuff. This guy sits down and just stares out into nothingness in his house, and Netflix pops up in front of him. Which
the one that got me was the weather app on the fridge. I'm like, I got my phone in my pocket. Like, am I going to go put this thing on to look at my fridge to see the weather app?
If I can walk to my fridge, can I walk to the window? That probably sound really old then. But yeah, this is totally vaporware. For everyone watching this going, oh my gosh, this is the future I've always wanted. I want you to go Google the original Kinect demo. Do you remember how powerful the Kinect looked when they showed it off?
Yep. It's going to change the future.
Yeah, he like drew a picture and held it up to the screen, and the little kid on screen was like, oh, and just grabbed the picture and brought it into the game and waved it around. And the actual Kinect experience was you sitting there going, oh, my room's too small. room's too big. It's too dark. It can't see me. And then just waving your hands around while the screen barely followed along with what you were doing. So
a half second behind everything that you did.
Yeah, I don't think the HoloLens is really going to amount to anything because it would have to be like Connect on steroids. That's how good their stuff would have to be. But journalists who've tried the headset at the conference say they were really impressed. Obviously, it's not as good as it was going to be. Like as it looks in the video, it's never going to be that good. That might be like
CGI. It was almost to me like I would rather see how it looks right now than see this cool. This is our
but if you want to get people excited, you have to show like this is the future Microsoft's creating in 30 years.
But at this point, I see videos like that, and I immediately just write the entire product off until I see actual results. That's just me, though.
Nope, you're not wrong for doing that. But yeah, so then we're wondering like, hey, when is Windows 10 going to come out? Well, initially, people thought it was going to come out this spring, although Microsoft had never confirmed anything. But now they're saying 2015, and they're not committing to a date. So it'll be late 2015, possibly delayed to spring of 2016.
But I'm going to bet fall. They tend to come out in the fall, it seems like.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. People who are using the consumer preview or the technical preview, and I've used it a couple times, it's working pretty well, but I don't know how much back-end work they still have to do. So it could take a while longer. But yeah, that's any other features of Windows 10 you want to talk about?
We need to summarize this monstrosity for PC gamers. I think there's really only 3 things that you really need to know from this. It's free. Redux 12 has potential, and it's coming out probably this year.
Yep.
To sum it up.
So,
I mean, from a PC gaming standpoint, that's the important stuff.
It is. The only problem with it being free is I'm assuming once you upgrade to it, you can't go back. So if you're on the fence, download the free technical preview and play around with it. But I mean, it should just be a more fluid, faster version of the same Windows you're using now. So if you have a .edu email address, grab a copy of Windows 8.1 from Microsoft DreamSpark for free. Did you hear that, Reddit? You can actually get Windows for free.
You liar!
Legally.
Impossible.
And try it out. It'll just be a more fluid Windows 8. I mean, that's my experience with the technical preview so far. So yeah, try it, see what you think. But yeah, I agree with you. There's not really anything for PC gamers to care about other than Microsoft hasn't totally abandoned you yet. So up next is the Potato Masher. Potato Masher update. We have another game we've tested on the Potato Masher.
You say we.
Well, I looked at
screenshots and offered some suggestions.
You helped. We, the collective we, okay. Metro 2033 Redux. Now, we've also tested Last Light Redux. That video will be coming soon. I still have to put it together. But yeah, Metro 2033 Redux. If you don't know what Redux is, it's Metro 2033 ported to the Last Light engine with a couple improvements. Do you know what the improvements are, Dave?
Not off the top of my head. I can't remember.
Cool. Not a problem. But it's some improvements. I mean, I've watched comparisons between the Redux and non-Redux versions of Last Light, and the differences are very, very slight.
Yeah,
but the nice thing for console owners and for PC gamers who didn't own either version was if you bought Redux, it gave you 2033 and Last Light together, which is pretty cool. And on the PS4, it's one of the few games that runs at 1080p 60 FPS. So that's pretty cool.
Looks really good doing it too.
It does look really good. So we tested Metro 2033 Redux. So you guys, if you really want a pixel peep, you're going to want to go to my YouTube channel and then probably download the file from Mega, like the original upload, because I'm about to stream this to you in standard definition over Twitch, but you should be able to get all the core content off of the video itself. So we're going to go ahead and watch that now. Hello, today I am comparing Metro 2033 Redux on the Potato Masher and the PlayStation 4. If you don't know what the Potato Masher is, it's a PC custom built for $350 in December of 2014 and designed to compete against the PlayStation 4 for the rest of its life cycle. The point is not to show that the PS4 is superior or inferior in any way, it's to show that you can get a very good and comparable gaming experience on the PC for not a whole lot of money. If you want any more details about the build, links are in the description of the video, as well as a link to the full quality file download if you really want a pixel peep. Now, like I said, we're comparing Metro 2033 on the Potato Masher and the PC. Now, anytime you see any screen tearing or the frame rate above 60, that's because I turned off VSync so I could see how fast the game was actually capable of running on the hardware. And at times, on very high, the game alternated between 55 and 80 or 90 FPS, and then on high settings it could easily go well over 100 FPS, and it can lock at 60 all the time. The only downsides to running on very high instead of high were that occasionally the frame rate would dip down into the mid 50s, but honestly it's still very playable, and very high looks nice, so I'd probably still play with it on those settings. Now, to go more in depth, I've invited Dave, the Evil Viking 13, to talk to us, because he is a 3D graphics artist, so he has some good insights. All right, Dave, what notes do you have for us about how Metro 2033 Redux looks?
Let's talk about the anti-aliasing first. The post-effect AA, I believe that's the FXAA, right?
It's not officially labeled as FXAA, it's just called anti-aliasing. Like, they don't really give you any options.
I think it's way too soft on PC, and I'm glad that you switched it off pretty quickly. As far as overall jagginess of edges, PS4 definitely comes out ahead on the jagginess meter. That's not a good thing, but it's really only noticeable in scenes with lots of hard edges, lots of like poles or telephone lines and stuff like that. Second note that I've got here is for the dynamic lighting. First off, all of the lights that are present on both systems, the PC renders that lighting distance a lot further, both in shadow and the light being cast, and PC actually has, I believe, additional lights, right?
Yeah, it looks like on most scenes, multiple light sources, the PC has more sources. So if like the potato masher, you know, has 7 or 8 sources, the PS4 might only have 2 or 3.
Just a little bit more of a nice spread for the lighting. Nothing game-changing, but just nice to have, if you can have it.
Yeah, it's a detail. It's not world-changing, but it's nice.
And this one, even as a 3D texture guy, I had to squint a bit to really notice, because both of these are being played at 1080p, correct?
Yes, 1080p, 60 FPS.
Okay, so the PC does have high resolution textures. However, it's really hard to tell in some cases at just 1080p. I think to appreciate the PC's advantage in the texture resolution department, you'd have to crank it up to 1440p or even 4K to really see that extra detail.
Yeah, and with the dynamic super resolution feature from NVIDIA, it actually wasn't too hard to do that. Like, I was able to get decent performance. So you have to lower your settings overall down to medium or so, but it looks great though. I mean, it definitely makes a difference in your textures and the models.
So some nice extra bonuses for PC, but honestly, this was a really hard comparison, even for me. I had to really study it, so props to this studio for really making a product that renders well on both systems.
All right, thanks, Dave. Now, if you notice, the frame rate counter got a lot smaller in the upper left-hand corner. This is running at 4K on low, and this is running at 4K on medium, and the game actually runs decently well. It doesn't run at 60 FPS, but you can run in the 30s. So if you want a game at 4K with this, you definitely can, and that's impressive for how cheap this build was, but honestly, it's probably worth just sticking to 1080p unless you really want to see some really nice looking textures. So now on to the optimized settings I would recommend you use at 1080p. If you can deal with occasional frame rate drops, I'd go with very high. It definitely looks a little bit better than high. But if you want that solid 60 experience the entire time, here the game is being played on high, and as you can see, it does look fantastic. You aren't really losing anything by going down to high. So yeah, this is pretty great. Now, the game doesn't have a lot of in-depth options for you to pick, so you kind of just have to go with high, pick your anti-aliasing, pick your anti-stropic filtering, pick your VSync, and that's about it. So I would turn your anti-aliasing all the way off because it's garbage. And as you can see in this clip that is actually running at 1080p with max anti-aliasing, the anti-aliasing doesn't even look that great. And anti-aliasing destroys the frame rate, but you're much better off using dynamic super resolution or AMD's virtual super resolution and just leaving anti-aliasing all the way off. So there you have it. Aside from a couple little issues with anti-aliasing optimizations, this is a good looking and great running game. You should be able to run it on a variety of hardware, and the Potato Masher definitely delivers an equivalent or better experience than the PlayStation 4. Again, for any further details about the Potato Masher build or any questions about it, just check out the description of this video and it will have a link. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more game comparisons and have a great day. Oh, Dave, you've already seen this video, but yeah, we were...
I was in there.
You were there! Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, I wasn't really surprised by anything. You know, Metro 2033 Redux is a kind of a remake, or not a remake, but it's a port. It's a port to next-gen systems. So just like The Last of Us Remastered runs fantastically, well, yeah, it's a last-gen game that's been ported up. So, yeah, it works great. And Metro 2033 works great. And spoilers, Metro Last Light isn't too bad in the performance department, but you guys will be seeing that coming up soon. And we've got like 6 games stacked in a row. I'm really excited about some of the stuff we're going to be testing. So it's going to be cool. But now we're going to move on to the news. Start the news with Freedom News with Dave, the part of the podcast when Joel and James aren't here, and we can talk about guns. It's been a couple months, man.
It has. And we have some weird gun news. I talked about this on Twitter a few days ago. Weird because this is like some stuff that would have rocked our grandparents' world if we told them this like 30, 40 years ago. Most people are familiar with the AK-47, the standard, just symbolic Russian assault rifle invented by Kalashnikov in the 1960s. At the same time in America, UG Stoner was inventing the AR-15 platform for Armalite. That's the AR and AR-15, later bought by Colt. So we had these two different branches of weapons, the AR-15 for America and the West, and the AK for the East.
Really is like a America versus the communist type thing to a lot of people. Yeah. To a lot of people who care maybe a little bit too much about gun history, it's kind of like America versus the communists.
Well, I mean, history in general, it was very interesting because it was a very different design philosophy for both directions. The Russians went with a heavier round and just carrying less ammo with the hope that the hits that you would get would be more powerful and take out more of your enemies with what you could carry with you. Whereas America, after World War II, looked at the amount of hits and said, it takes this many thousands of bullets to get a kill. Well, there aren't many woundings from these. Why don't we just have our men carry more ammo? So the AR platform went with a lighter round that you could carry more of, and the AK went with a heavier round. But like I said, it's just kind of the East versus West. And one of my favorite stories is after the fall of the Soviet Union in the 1990s, UG Stoner and Kalashnikov actually got to meet and shake hands and later became really good pen pals and friends, kind of breaking down that East versus West mentality. But going on this week is SHOT Show, and I think it's Las Vegas. Big firearms conference, lots of new products being announced. And what blew everyone's mind, no one was actually expecting this, Kalashnikov announced at SHOT Show that they're opening a Kalashnikov factory in the USA. Like, if you had told people this 30 years ago, you would have been called insane. This is just completely unheard of. What's exciting for American civilian consumers is there's a lot of import restrictions on Kalashnikov and other foreign firearm products, even for the civilian market, the semi-autos. You really can't get the real thing even in semi-auto because there's a number of parts that have to be like American manufactured. So they have to like rebuild models for export, ship them over from Russia, and then there's like reassembly that has to take place in America. And the whole thing is just convoluted. And you're messing with the quality of what are some really nice firearms. So what everyone's really hoping is that now we're going to see some real Kalashnikovs, maybe even some SVDs and marksman rifles, stuff like that. We can see Kalashnikov hunting stuff coming out. I mean, like the doors are open. There's no real details on what the factory is going to be producing, but I definitely had a little bit of a squeal that came out of me when I saw the photo from SHOT Show of the Kalashnikov booth. And their graphic designer had like this stencil bald eagle, like almost like the presidential seal, holding a Kalashnikov. I was like, it's so beautiful. But that's the really unexpected gun news coming out of SHOT Show this week. Yeah,
I don't know. That's one of those things. Like, we'll see if any of them are affordable. I would love a nice American-made AK without all the hassle, but.
And there are some nice companies that are making, I mean, the AK, the patents expired a long time ago. You can get American-made AKs right now. It's just that the Kalashnikov name, it's wild to see. That's been Freedom News with Dave. I need like a fife and a drum for the background.
Do you, though?
Yeah, I do.
All right. I wish Joel was on for this news item, because we called this months ago. The Elder Scrolls Online is coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That's not a surprise. Everyone knew that. The part no one knew for sure, but everyone assumed is, hey, they're dropping their subscription fee. It's called Tamriel Unlimited. It's coming to the PC and Mac. All PC and Mac accounts that already exist will be upgraded to the Tamriel Unlimited Edition on March 17th. You'll just have to log in. They're offering a new paid service called Elder Scrolls Online Plus. It will be offered in 30, 90, and 180-day durations. Members will have full access to all downloadable content, a monthly allowance of crowns, which is the in-game currency, bonuses to experience earned, and gold acquired, plus other benefits. Yes, they are going pay to win, which most MMOs that are free to play have done. So yeah, it's their Please Love Us version of Elder Scrolls Online, and it's coming out soon. So
I actually did talk to Joel briefly about this yesterday, so I can offer his input. I asked him if, because he played it for exactly a month, like crazy. He said it was like 35 hours of playing Elder Scrolls Online because he'd only bought the 1 month. And I asked him the subscription fee that stops you, and he's like, yeah, like if it was free, I would still be playing it. So right. I think he thinks he's going to go back, probably not with as much excitement as when it first came out, but that's definitely what held him back was the subscription fee.
If I had tons of time, I'd love to try it out on the PlayStation, just like a fun game to run around and hang out with friends. But, you know, Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5 is out on the PlayStation 4, so I don't have to. But yeah, so if you're excited about that, congratulations. I don't really care. But a lot of people do like the Elder Scrolls Online. So if you like MMOs, if you have the time for MMOs, there you go. Last bit of news, pretty exciting. It was unveiled today. A lot of reviews are hitting the GTX 960. This is the new king of budget graphics cards. Now, not like budget, but decently budget. It's retailing for $200. I already saw a deal today to get one with an aftermarket cooler for $185. That's a pretty good price. Now, performance-wise,
actually, I think even $185 is a little too high.
You think so?
Looking at the performance, I agree with PC Gamer on this one. Its MSRP is just too high. It's going to drop pretty quickly, I think. I think 175 is probably a better mark for it. But seeing that right now, if you just wait a week or two, you can get a 970 for like 280, 285.
No, I've seen them for 310. That's the best I've seen them for.
I'm pulling the link up. Don't you?
If you can find one, that's fine. No, that's fine if you can find one. I haven't noticed one for less than like 310.
If you wait a few weeks. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Now the 960, I agree that the MSRP is maybe a little high, but it's the lowest blank 60, like the GTX blank 60, 660, 760, whatever. It has the cheapest MSRP of all of those. I mean, the GTX 760's MSRP was over $200. So yeah, I'm sure you're gonna be able to get this for like $150 in a couple months. Yeah. But it's not a ton faster than the GTX 760, which powers the potato masher. It's a little bit faster in some applications, and others it's about the same. But if you have a GTX 660 and we're looking for an upgrade, this isn't a bad upgrade. Especially if you have like an EVGA card, because you can use the EVGA Step Up program and pay not a whole lot out of pocket to do the upgrade, probably.
NVIDIA actually said today, too, that they were really targeting with this card people who were 2 gens behind. Like, if you're still rocking like a 560 Ti, it might be time to look at this card maybe as an upgrade option.
Or, you know, just keep using whatever you're using as long as it plays games. You don't have to upgrade just because someone says it. But I know a lot of people
you don't have to be us.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were looking forward to the GTX 960. Well, actually, you said you don't have to be us, Dave. Man, after building the potato masher, I'm going to wait a while to upgrade this R9 290. The only reason I'd upgrade to another card like the 300 series or something from AMD is if they do something that makes it not so hot. Or maybe I'll just look at that and go, you know, when they announce the 300 series and buy a $50 water cooler and heatsink for my, you know, GPU and just keep it for a couple years. Man, the performance is good though. I don't feel any need to upgrade anytime soon. And after, given that my card's like twice as fast as the 760, I should just enjoy it and sit on it for a while.
Me, Jeremiah, I've had this 970 for almost 3 months now, and there's not a second one next to it yet. So I'm getting better.
Yet.
Yes.
You've sent me links. Don't act like you haven't sent me links to good deals on them.
I have the app that pops up as soon as a 970 deal goes live. And I look at them for a minute. I think the only game that's pushing my card right now was Far Cry 4, which I've beaten now. So I can kind of wait maybe towards The Witcher to go any further. Battlefield 4 uses a lot of my card, but I still, like, I don't drop below like 54. It's not quite V-synced, but it's so close that it's not worth $300, you know, for 10 extra frames for the V-syncing.
Yeah.
Although I could crank it to Ultra with 4x AA.
You should just upgrade your screen. You don't even need AA if you go up to 4K. I mean, unless you had like a giant screen. If you got that 40-inch
unless you're me,
Philips
Jeremiah,
4K.
we keep going back to this.
If I had that 40-inch Philips 4K monitor, I probably would need to turn it on because the pixel pitch gets a little less. But no, dude, you come here, play a 4K game on my monitor. You're not going to be sitting there going, "Oh, I need anti-aliasing." You're going to be going,
I'll point out your jaggies. Don't you worry.
Do you have like an inhaler to bring with you or something just in case? It's so beautiful.
Probably should. Maybe a safety blanket to clutch.
Now, Quantum HD in chat says 2 gigabytes of video memory on the 960 is too low. It is not too low. It's too low if you want to use the 960 to game at 1440p. It's probably still okay at 1440p. But yeah, if you want to game at 4K, it's too low. But this card, NVIDIA even says, is designed for 1080p, 60 FPS. It's not designed for people who are going super high resolution. If your monitor costs more than your graphics card, the 960 is probably not for you. But if you upgrade like every 4 or 5 years, that's what the 960 is for. It's for people who want to finally be able to game at 1080p very, very smoothly. So yeah, for that, 2 gigabytes is plenty.
Yep.
All right, it's now time for a new section that I've been wanting to introduce for a while. For a gaming podcast, we don't talk about what we're playing that often. Which seems we spend a lot of time like talking about the news and complaining about stuff we don't like and everything in general. But yeah, so this week we're going to start out with talking about what have you been playing over the past week? Like what games are you enjoying? What are you finding fun?
Can I just put an entry in to cover like the next 6 months of this section for me?
Yes. H1Z1?
ARMA 3 editor.
That's Dave's biggest game is the ARMA 3 editor. How many hours do you have in ARMA 3?
I keep making the excuse. I keep forgetting to close the launcher, which Steam counts it as game time. So this is probably hundreds of hours over. But still, my official Steam counter is, as of today, 708 hours.
Oh my. I don't know what to say about that.
Even taking like 200 or 300 off, that's still terrifying.
Yeah, I'll take 200 or 300. So even taking like 5 to 8 work weeks off, it's still a lot. Yeah.
Oh, so good. My creativity.
Speaking of ARMA, Dave, what's going on tomorrow night?
Is it official? Is it happening?
Yeah. I mean, it's happening. We talked about
who's it open to is the next question. We probably should discuss this earlier.
Anyone who has the mod pack who doesn't need our help for an hour to get it set up ahead of time.
Yes, we're going to be running through Morning Routine, a mission taking place on the fan map Wake Island in ARMA 3. So if you already have our latest mod pack installed, it's working.
Or you can get it by tomorrow night.
And you test it.
And you
launch the game, you load up a map, you make sure it's working. You're welcome to join us. I think we have room for something like up to like 14 or so, maybe even 16 people on Morning Routine.
Sweet. And when are we running that?
We're running that at 9 p.m. tomorrow. And if any of you guys have fixed wing experience in ARMA 3 for the jets, we could really use your help because last time we got wrecked when the Russian Air Force showed up. So,
yep. And so I'm going to try to get this podcast up tomorrow morning. If you're listening to it, obviously it's not tomorrow morning from where you're listening to it, but it's currently the 22nd of January. I'm going to try to get it up on the 23rd, the morning of the 23rd, which is the day we're playing it, so people will have time to hear it. And yeah, please come out and join us. It'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So get in chat, 8:45. If you can do that, go over to Teamspeak. Teamspeak links are in the description of this podcast. They're in the description of all the podcasts. Pretty much any video on either of our channels will have links to the Teamspeak. So hop it on in. Even if you don't have jet experience, that's totally fine. We need a lot of grunts on the ground. I don't fly jets. So.
No, you just crash helicopters.
Yep. More combat landings than anyone else in CSG. I'm maintaining my title.
To return to my insistence here, your definition of combat landing includes using multiple palm trees to bounce closer to the ground.
Chopper in air, chopper on ground, people alive. Combat
blood
landing.
Everywhere.
Combat landing.
That's so much blood.
So you're the type of wuss who's like, let's hang back. Let's keep the equipment working. You're like Q from Bond. You're like, bring it back in one piece. And I'm like James Bond, where I'm like, lol, don't care. $50 million. The government will just buy another one.
As long as after the ninth flip.
I'm a patriot.
As long as after the ninth flip, the Jeep lands on the wheels, you're still good to go.
I really don't see what you're complaining about. You don't pay for the helicopters.
Just pack extra morphine. You'll be fine.
What else have you been playing?
I want to ask you, Dex, because I've talked a lot about ARMA already.
Well, I mean, we've been playing some Rome 2 Total War, which I'm enjoying a lot of, and due to my...
I can't get you to stop playing. I have like 3 or 4 episodes to edit now.
Sorry about that. Due to my complaining and wanting to play it, I'm falling down the Total War hole again. It happened bad in college. It was real bad.
It's a lot of fun though. The co-op, like even when one person is starting the battle, you can split forces and kind of go a bit AI where you're doing multiple army commands at the same time, basically. It's a lot of fun.
I have a bit of a college shame story to tell. We've told a few of those tonight. Yeah, so I was in college, and when I built my first gaming desktop, it came with a no-name 800-watt quote unquote power supply that was like a shiny chrome blue. It came with the case. You can see where this is going. It burned up one night, stopped working, smoke, the whole 9 yards. So I ordered my Corsair 650-watt power supply, which I'm still using to this day. But when it was down, I didn't have a computer to use. So I drove to my girlfriend, now wife's house, and grabbed her desktop that she was using for school. But I'd built it. I picked it up and was like, hey, you have...
I know where this is. Oh, no.
I was like, you have a laptop, right? And she was like, yeah, I've got a laptop. And I was like, can you work on that for a few days? And she was like, yes. I said, thanks. And I drove back to my dorm room, clutching her desktop.
Did you cannibalize it?
Oh, no, I just kept it. It just stayed at my place.
I don't know which one's worse.
It stayed at my place. Well, the cannibalization story is coming up soon. I kept it at my place for a week or so I could play Total War and work on stuff. It's good I married her. She's very understanding. Now, when I cannibalized it was later when I did a BIOS update on my motherboard, which is the last time I'll ever update the BIOS on my motherboard. It bricked my motherboard and I had to take it out and send it back. Well, good thing for me, her motherboard was the same socket as mine. So I did go borrow the desktop again, and I did cannibalize it, and I used her motherboard for a couple weeks. I love her.
I just got an email from YouTube from my own channel saying that I've uploaded a new playlist called H1Z1 Zombie MMO Survival by Evil Viking 13.
The Survivals.
Let me just fix that title.
Good job, Dave. What else have I been playing? I've been desperately trying to play Far Cry 4. I keep like working on stuff though. I haven't been playing it. I've been playing a little bit of H1Z1. That's decently fun so far.
It's not working yet though. The loot's not spawning, and we're not
going to have this discussion right now. I think it works better than DayZ, but we don't have to talk about it now. We can argue about it later. It's okay. You're a little bit of a DayZ fanboy. I don't hold it against you. You defend the things that you like. You like Vista. You like 8.1. You like DayZ. You know, someone's got to be that maverick standing out there in the wind going, this is actually good. The crashes are features.
They help you grow as a person.
No, I mean, it's DayZ's not terrible. Sometimes it's terrible, but it's not terrible.
No,
H1Z1 isn't amazing. But
what I'm saying is I think it could be much more amazing if the stuff like the loot spawning was working. I want it to work so I can actually play it. I'm really excited to actually find things, not just rotten meat. There was a discussion today on the subreddit that apparently after the first few hours of the servers going up after the patch yesterday, that was actually all that was respawning was the rotten meat in the fridges, which is why that's all we found last night, respawning in containers. So it is actually broken, is what I'm saying. Like we can't actually play the intended experience yet.
Gotcha. What was I saying? Oh yeah. I've also been playing a lot of Tropico. I like me some Tropico.
Now, Jeremiah, how many hours did you say that you're playing outside of what you're uploading?
It's like a 5-to-1 ratio. Because I don't want to just...
And what do you upload per episode?
Like 45 minutes.
Which makes your average play session how long?
I mean, it's like 4 hours or so.
Not
my average play session, my time in between episodes, because I'm not trying to show the whole process. I'm trying to just show the highlights because it could be very, very long. I'm not like Dave with his 50 episodes of Total War.
53 I uploaded to this week.
That everyone is lapping up. Can't fault your results. But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of that, and I'm probably going to be playing that next week too. So deal with it.
Over the playing section.
Yes.
I've got a very short story that Joel found absolutely hilarious.
All right.
He bet me $5. Like he gave me $5 basically to buy Alien Isolation back in November, betting me that I would buy it and then never actually complete it. And according to Steam, I've now played a total of 2 hours since November. Last week, I finally I had no more videos to work on. I had some time just to play like a single player game, and it was nighttime. The wife had just gone to bed. I'm like, I'll play like an hour of Alien right before bed in the dark alone. And I had just gotten to a part in the game, I'm only 2 hours in, where they tease you with the alien, it grabs somebody near you, and then you have to wait for like a train to show up. And you're literally standing there in this dark, half-destroyed spaceship train station. Like all the lights are flickering and you're listening to the alien like moving around in the ductwork and like the room next to you. And all you can do is crouch in the corner and wait for the train to get there. You hit the button and you just wait. First time you actually see the alien in the game. And so I am like sitting here, like leaned back. I have my headphones on, cranked up, and I'm staring. Mouse is cranked up to like 6,000 DPI. And I'm looking like I'll watch all the corners. Once the train gets here, I'm gone. I left the door cracked just a bit so the dog could come in and out. And we just bought a new humidifier. And my wife is this like slight door open. She's half asleep. She's coming to tell me that the humidifier is making noise and she's cutting it off. But she's not really awake. So she's not walking. She's like slowly shuffling. So I am looking all over and I hear this like scratchy sound in my left ear. And then I just see movement right in my peripheral vision. I just turn around and she's right there, like half asleep looking at me. I just yell, I go, could you not? Like, I don't know where that came from. She has no idea what's going on. She's just staring at me. So I got on that stupid train. She lost it laughing when she realized that I just yelled, could you not? For like without no explanation, basically. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I got on the train. I saw like the little alien tail down the hallway as the doors closed. I'm like, screw it. I played for 15 minutes. I'm going to bed. But like, I don't know where that came from. I just turned around and yelled, could you not? I don't know what that was.
You're a good husband, Dave. Did she remember it the next day?
Oh yeah, she did. Well, Joel almost died laughing though. He's absolutely certain that I'm never going to complete the game. That's my goal for 2015 is to
I'm actually starting to get bored with the game. Just so atmospheric and moody. Like a lot of people have said it's so long. If it was everything that happened was condensed into 10 hours, I probably would have been enjoying it more. It's still a great game, but like it just takes me a long time to get into it. And you know, I need a couple hours to really get into it and play. But
oh, and then that was she's texting me right now. She can hear me from the other room. She said that I forgot to mention that, as always, I'm surrounded by firearms. I keep the CZ right here under my monitor. And so after I turned around and yelled, could you not? She kind of like did like a double take and like maintained eye contact and made sure that I was paying attention that it was her. She's like you didn't just like almost shoot me, did you? I'm like, I'm not that jumpy. You just Oh man.
It's now time for comments of the week. Part of the podcast where Dave shows how tolerant and understanding people can be on the internet by taking comments from almost exclusively his Total War videos.
This one's amazing because it wasn't directed at me or the video itself. It was the most random reply comment. And I don't know if I can really do this one justice. Could you do this one justice, Jeremiah?
The top
one? How about I read the top one and you do the reply? Are you up for that?
I don't see the reply.
The one right below it, that's the reply.
Oh, okay. Yes, I can do that.
Did you see how they're just like, there's no correlation here?
What video was this left on?
Total War.
Of course it was.
The Road to Independence. So I'll go ahead and get into character for the first comment, and you go ahead and just think about your character for the reply.
All right.
So this is a reply to this first comment. So here's the first comment. This is the one I actually posted on the video, about the video. This is by far the most realistic game when it comes to movements and combats, but the units don't take direct orders, and the soldiers retreat at different times.
And you can STF you, bitch.
Oh.
And that's really what he wrote, is STFU, and he used you instead of the word you. Yeah, I've had a lot of that in the Potato Masher videos. There are a lot of people like who just said, well, I'm going to end this argument for good. It's like, oh yeah, well, you're an idiot. Except the much more profane version of that. It's like, that has nothing to do with anything we were talking about. Like, I don't, just don't comment. You obviously had nothing intelligent to say, just don't.
Don't contribute. It's not contribution anyway.
This person's not going to come back and be like, oh man, I really showed Lightning A3746 HMH. I really showed him what's up. Like, no, they're not going to care. They're going to forget all about it and move on to trolling someone else or leaving a comment along the lines of, Dave, why aren't you putting out 2 of these a day? I need my Total War fix, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. I make it sound worse than it is. Dave loves Total War. And I love it too. Again,
I know. What I've created a monster of the monster. This is it's out of control.
Yeah, that's the podcast, guys. Dave, do you want to do all the ending stuff this week? You had the intro. I feel like you ought to do the outro. Remember everything.
Yeah, if you guys want to write into the show with your long-winded tech support questions or any comments and suggestions, hate mail, fanboy mail, we accept it all at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. Or you can tweet us at casualshenaniga, stupid Twitter and their character limit, and our lack of pre-planning. Years later, still bitter about that.
I don't know about lack of pre-planning. We talked about it, and then we just went ahead and did it.
And we've regretted it ever since. You can follow Jeremiah at Jerem Gaming on Twitter, myself at Evil Viking, not Evil Viking 13, just Evil Viking, just to be confusing. YouTube.com/evilviking13, youtube.com/JeremGaming. If you're not following myself and Jeremiah here on Twitch, you're missing some shenanigans. You can just hit that follow button. If you're watching this right now live, twitch.tv/JeremGaming and twitch.tv/evilviking13.
Very good. I don't normally plug Twitch. Good
and you
job.
know what? Let's go. Let's just finish this right. To all you awesome people that are supporting us on Patreon, you are supporting projects like Make Joel's Room Light Not Suck, Make Joel's Microphone Not Suck, and one day we're going to actually have a fan set up where you guys can contribute, and it's the Make Joel Pay Attention During the Podcast Fund. All of this will be funded through our Patreon. I think next up I'm going to actually try and do some lighting fixes for my office here, because I just have an overhead light and my screen tends to overwhelm the lighting. But definitely thank you guys for your support. You also help to fund, of course, the Potato Masher project. That is all you guys. And if you want to be a part of that and you're not currently, you can go to patreon.com/casualshenanigans to be a part of that funding.
All right.
That's
Sounds
it.
good. Thank you very much. Well, Dave, I mean, you've already done so well. I feel like you should just take the podcast out in style this week.
And you know what? As you guys head into your weekend, remember the most important life advice.
Stall. Got to get to the stream button. All right, continue. I'm so sorry. I've ruined it all.
As you go into your weekend, remember the most important life advice that we can give you here on the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast. Stay casual.